I was just telling you, Alana Jaylo,
Yes.
that Mickey Rooney played a very racist, or did a racist portrayal of a Japanese person in the film Breakfast at Tiffany's. And we were saying that he couldn't get away with that today. We got on that topic because I told you that I am still reading the book, The Houstons, The Life and Times of an American Dynasty. And at one point, John Huston worked on a movie with Truman Capote, who wrote the book that eventually became Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you were explaining to me what Breakfast at Tiffany's was about. It sounds like a different story.
Yeah. But the Houston's book is really interesting. The author says that when they went to make the African Queen, John Huston hired this guy to basically make food for them. Apparently, this man was arrested during or shortly after shooting was finished on the picture. And it was discovered that he used human meat to feed the crew, along with other things. But they definitely ate some people, it sounded like, according to the author.
That's so disgusting. We were just talking about that earlier. That's really, really gross. And how did they discover this?
The guy was arrested because villagers were starting to disappear.
Oh, no. Wow. It sounds like it was proven that he was the one who did that.
That's what the author makes it sound like.
That is so gross. That's gross.
Do you ever eat meat and feel concerned that maybe somebody's finger got stuck in that meat and grind it up with everything else?
No, I don't. It hasn't occurred to me, but now you're going to make me feel very cautious the next time I eat a burger.
I have a way of doing that, babe.
Don't do that, please.
Do you think you've ever eaten human meat on accident?
No.
Okay.
Can we not talk about this now? It's starting to really, really make me feel a little bit weird.
Sorry, babes.
You have some interesting thoughts in your head.
I do. It's hard to control them.
Apparently it is. Yes.
We went to bed at around 10:30 last night.
Well, I did.
Yeah, you fell asleep instantly. I just sat there.
I was exhausted. I
went
really
up and used the bathroom a couple times, had some water, listened to the audiobook, and felt really, really hot for some reason.
Yeah, it sometimes it gets stuffy in here.
Finally, I fell asleep around 1. Got up by 7:05. You woke up around 15 to 20 minutes later.
That's right.
And said that you had gotten up earlier for around an hour or so. I didn't even hear you.
It felt like an hour. So, no, what happened is I woke up, it might have been 1 o'clock. It might have been 1:30. I'm not even sure what time it was because I wasn't going to wake anybody up by asking the dot. Anyway, and I woke up because this idiot guy was yelling on the street. I couldn't even tell. And I think he's the same guy that I've heard outside before. And I didn't want to, wake anybody up by telling him to shut up or throwing something at him because that would have been rude.
I'm surprised I didn't hear him.
No, I heard him. I remember hearing him before and I thought, why is this guy on the street at this hour of the night? And why doesn't anybody do anything about this guy? But I don't know. Anyway, so I was just lying there for, I don't know how long. I was just there, and then I had to go to the bathroom, and then I thought about actually going into the kitchen and getting on my computer and just doing stuff on it, but I thought, well, let's see what happens. Maybe I will go to sleep, and I did. Eventually, I was tired, and I went to sleep again. So I don't know how long I was up.
Fine night, babes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right, but we did have a great evening before that.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Should we go into the films first, or DS9, or eating?
Let's go to DS9 first,
okay,
and then eating, and then the films. Let's see how that works.
We are not watching season 6 in order. because I like watching episodes that are the best in the series. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we skip around. Yesterday, I showed you an episode with Cisco and Gul Dukat.
Ooh, that was intense.
Do you want me to give the description, or do you want to take the...
Why don't I set it up and then you can continue?
Do your thing.
Okay, so it starts with Captain Cisco visiting Dukat in prison. By then, he has had some time to come to grips with his daughter's death, with Ziel's death, and Captain Cisco doesn't know whether, what to expect, whether he's going to be crazy, whether he's going to feel much better, and he's going to be the same old Dukat. And he visits him in prison and leaves, and they talk for a little bit. Then he says that Ziel was a wonderful young lady, and we really we really liked getting to know her for the short time that she had. And then he thanked Cisco for him and Kara taking really good care of her after she was brought back from Bajor. Meanwhile, where did the explosion come from? Because there was an explosion that happened.
What happened was, it's the brig of the ship, mm-hmm. and Dukat is being transferred to another prison, basically.
Yep.
He was on board Deep Space Nine, but now he's going someplace else.
Yep.
Cisco wanted to be on the ship just to sort of see what was going on.
Yep.
And maybe see some family, I don't know. Maybe he had a rendezvous with an Orion slave girl at this prison that Dukat was going to. But in any event, as he's leaving Dukat in the brig, the ship gets attacked by a fleet of Cardassian vessels.
Yep. And it was found out that there was an explosion. Oops, sorry. There was an explosion, and Dukat found Cisco just in time. Him and another Cardassian carry him.
No.
Oh, no?
Him and another Federation officer.
Okay, I saw we.
They're different people. Big. Keep going.
Him and another officer, I'm sorry, carried Cisco off, and he's badly burnt because he has, what did he call those burns that he had?
Plasma burns.
Plasma burns, yes. And Dukat was able to bandage up his arm and give him a cast, but he wasn't able to regenerate his bones.
He's bad with Federation technology. So he's carried off. They end up on this planet. I don't know what planet it is, but they're in this area where there's a fire burning. Cisco or Dukat is doing his best to take care of Cisco by giving him food. Do you want me to jump in a little bit?
I guess.
Or do you want to keep going?
You can.
Okay. They make it to a shuttlecraft, but the lieutenant who helped Dukat carry Cisco was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And Dukat takes the shuttlecraft to a close planet, lands, takes Cisco into these caves, I believe.
Yeah.
Or underground tunnels, and starts a fire. Yep. And Cisco eventually wakes up, and Dukat fills him in on what happened.
Right.
Keep going, babes.
And meanwhile, Dukat leaves him to get some food because he's trying to get some water and food to sustain them both because they just landed on this planet. He comes back and makes him some kind of a soup. And I guess he was explaining to Cisco that he learned how to cook somehow. Sometime during his life, he learned how to cook. And Dukat is starting to have these visions of Weyoun, Kira, Damar. And not only does he see them, but he's talking to them in his head. And trying to tell him. Weyoun is trying to tell Dukat, and Damar is trying to tell Dukat to find out what what Captain Sisko really thinks about him and that he should kill him. Go on, please.
There is the struggle in Ducat's mind. While this is going on, we find out that there's really only 2 ships looking for the survivor of the battle. One of them being the Defiance. And they have limited time because they have to escort a group of folks who are doing some stuff. I couldn't really pick up on that part because it's more mainly focused on the A plot.
Right.
But suffice it to say, the Defiance got to look for them, and they don't have a whole lot of time.
Nope.
Before they got to leave.
Right.
So Sisko's got to figure out something quick.
Yeah.
There's this communication, I believe they call it a transponder. It's a communication device that Ducat says is working while he's gone looking for food, presumably. Sisko opens up the back of it and realizes there's an issue. He fixes it.
Yep.
Ducat comes back, sees that Sisko has done something to the transponder, uses his phaser, and pretty much puts it out of service.
Yep.
Okay. Ducat's having this battle in his mind. Sisko's trying to talk to him and eventually gets him to tell his real feelings. We find out that Ducat thinks that the Bajorans should die because they weren't grateful for the things he did under the occupation to try to save him.
Yeah, he was trying to justify killing 5 million Bajorans and saying, well, I wasn't there during the occupation, during the Cardassian occupation.
No.
Or what?
What he's trying to say is when he took command of Tarek Nor, he tried to make these reforms, like giving more medical supplies to the Bajorans and food, and reducing their hours.
Yeah.
And he said that he was greeted with terrorist attacks. So it wasn't that he was there. It wasn't that he wasn't there under the occupation. It was that he tried to reduce the pain of the Bajoran people. They did not respect him for that. And because of that, he felt that they should all die.
Right. But even though he tried to justify it with Sisko, Captain Sisko didn't buy it, and it still did not change the fact that Ducat killed 5 million Bajorans because he felt entitled to do that.
Eventually, Sisko makes it to the shuttle. Ducat follows him. They get into a fight.
Yep.
Ducat takes the shuttle.
Yep.
By this time, the Defiant knows something's up at this planet. Ducat sends a message to the Defiant that we don't see, but I believe it's alluded to, saying Sisko's on the planet. He doesn't do this because he loves Sisko. He does this because he knows if they're distracted by getting the emissary, he's going to have a little bit more time to get away.
Yep.
That's how the episode basically ends, with Ducat getting away.
Yeah.
And Captain Sisko going to sickbay.
And realizing that Ducat is still a truly evil Cardassian.
What did you think of this episode?
I think it definitely cemented my feelings for Ducat, why I don't like him, even though...
You think he's kind of sexy?
No, I never said that.
Go ahead.
If I ever had an opportunity to meet the actor who played Ducat, I would tell him that you play his character so good that I hate the character, but you do it so well, and I would congratulate him. But that just means that he does his job very well with his character.
I felt a little strange last night. Alana was asleep, and I heard her snoring. And I went,
hey.
Ducat, okay.
Hey, that is not true.
No, I'm just joking. Stop tickling.
You asked for that one.
Sorry, babes. But it's a good episode.
It's a very good episode. It definitely cemented my feelings even more about Ducat and why I don't like his character. But yeah, it definitely made you really think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we watched possibly a great episode of DS9.
Yes, it is.
I think it's called Valiance.
Yes.
Do you want me to give a brief overview?
Go ahead.
Okay. We find out at the beginning of this episode that Nog is going to go to the home planet, Ferenginar, to visit with the Grand Nagus. Alana just farted.
No, that was a stopper. Go on.
Jake is going with him. They're leaving from a different star base. I think they're getting a new runabout or something. I forgot why.
Yeah.
But as they're leaving, some Jem'Hadar ships come to attack the starbase. Mm-hmm. And one of them turns around to chase the runabout that they're in. Jake and Nog end up deep in Dominion territory.
Yep.
When the USS Valiant, that is considered to be lost for something like 8 months, comes by and saves their ass. We find out that the Valiant was a cadet ship. It would be used for training exercises deep into space. Not like the other training ship they have, which is mainly around the Earth solar system, right? And they were on a mission to find out information about this new Jem'Hadar ship. But the regular crew, meaning the captain and his officers, were killed.
Yeah.
Leaving just the cadets.
Yep.
They were, of course, the cadets of Red Squad, the most elite...
Of the Starfleet Academy.
Yes, members of the Academy.
Yep.
Red Squad is also this organization that Nog wanted to join back in the day.
Yep.
The captain, who's like 19...
Yeah.
calls Nog into his office and basically says, listen, we need help. We know that you're an officer. We would like to promote you to lieutenant commander and have you be our chief engineer. Nog thinks this is a little bit weird, but he goes along with it.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, he wants a promotion and he wants to do something.
He wants to impress the Red Squad captain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're having trouble with their warp engines. Nog figures out the problem. They can now go faster.
Yep.
Jake is having some questions about this crew after talking with their medical officer and being reprimanded by the captain and his first officer.
Absolutely, yep.
He tries to approach Nog.
Actually, it was the second officer that he was reprimanded by.
No, it's the first officer.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because Chief Collins was the chief medical officer. I think it was.
Hold on, what are you saying?
Remember when Chief Dorian Collins rescues Jake and Nog and takes them to get some medical attention.
Yeah.
She says that she is a first chief officer.
Yeah, and I thought
No. You said that the lady in command was the second officer, and she was reprimanded Jake for talking to her.
I thought it was the first officer who reprimanded Jake.
Or maybe it was, I don't know. I have no idea.
You just got something.
She was the chief.
Yeah,
Collins was the chief.
You completely interrupted my flow for no reason, but I still love you there, Jay. Well, anyways.
Doesn't matter. Go on.
Anyway, even though you just interrupted me for something you said doesn't matter. So they eventually find the ship. Sisko's asking too many questions. The crew's getting pissed off with him. And they get the information. Captain goes down to the mess hall. Everybody's happy. He says, look, we did what we came here to do. Yeah, we could go home and be reassigned, but eventually some other starship is going to come out here and be asked to do what we could do right now. We're Red Squad. Why don't we finish this? Jake pipes up and he says, hey, my dad's the emissary, motherfuckers. And even he wouldn't do something.
Oh, come on. Go on.
Even he wouldn't do something like this with an experienced crew. They kind of blow him off and be like, take this dude to the brig.
The brig, yeah.
They go in a battle. And of course, who's right? Jake. Eventually, they have to abandon ship. There's only 3 survivors. Nog, Jake, and Alaya.
There's some things that you're missing here.
I'm giving an overview. What am I missing?
Well, I'll tell you about that after your overview.
Okay.
Man, oh man. A little ornery this morning.
Can I get a guess?
No.
Come on, give me a guess.
No,
Oh, baby, no, you want to.
I think we should wait until after your overview. After your overview. A little testy this morning, are we?
All right, they abandoned ship. They're rescued. And they're in sick bay. Jake and Nog have a little talk. And Nog goes over to the lady survivor and she's like, he was a great captain and he's a great man. Nog takes her hand and says, he may have been a great man, but he was a bad captain. And that's where the episode ends. Yeah. What did I miss, babe?
Well, you forgot to mention, because the captain told Jake, well, if you want to report, if you want to be a good reporter, then just observe what's around you.
Yes.
He realizes that Captain Waters isn't so great because he's trying to sell Nog something. And he also realizes that Captain Waters has been taking stimulants.
He's a pill popper.
Not only that, the Red Squad team are very young, and I think they're too big for their britches, and they try to destroy that ship. And and under the captain's orders, and the captain was not he was not being a good captain as far as keeping the crew focused on what they're supposed to do.
I covered a lot of that.
Right. But I thought, no.
No, go ahead.
No, but I thought there were some things that were worth mentioning that you forgot.
I'm sorry. Could I get a kiss now? Mm-mm. Come on. Babe, you know you want to kiss me.
Fine.
Jaylo, you tickle my outfit. Okay. I think this is a great episode, and it sticks with you after you watch it. What are your thoughts?
I think so too. Especially you mentioned it seemed that they had like a cult mentality.
Yes. Especially
when they were trying to get amped up to target that ship, and they were saying Red Squad. They were chanting Red Squad, Red Squad. And that was a little bit eerie to me. They thought they were the biggest, baddest team in the Starfleet Academy, and they thought that they could just finish that ship off, but they didn't know what they were going in for. And the captain, of course, wasn't completely focused because he wasn't getting enough sleep, and he had to take stimulants to stay awake, and that's not good. That's not good for a captain to do. So he died, and most of the crew died because of it.
Do you think that Nog should be kicked out of Starfleet because of his actions?
I don't.
Okay, why not?
I don't because, they were not, they didn't end up on the Valiant on purpose. I guess Nog wanted to be noticed, and you know how young kids are. They want to do some things that will impress the in crowd. I don't think he should be held. I don't think that he should be punished for doing that. But he quickly learns. He quickly learns after that incident with that ship that he shouldn't have done it. I'm sure. Does
Captain Sisko yell at Nog because of this? I mean, we don't see it, but if you had a guess, does he yell at him because of what happened? He put his son's life at risk.
Well, I don't know that he does. Because remember that one episode where he wanted to join, he told Captain Sisko that he really wanted to join Red Squad.
Yes.
And they, obviously they didn't let him in, but maybe he would understand a little bit, even though Jake's life was in danger, but he did survive. Now, had Jake not survived, that would have probably been a different conversation.
Oh.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think he probably would give him a little bit of slack.
I think he at least yells at him.
Maybe he would yell at him, but I think after that he would be genuinely understanding and say, you know what, this was your first offense.
Oh.
You know, Nog has grown a lot.
Yes.
So he's grown a lot, and I think that overrides what he did.
Okay.
That's what I think. Nice. I mean, you kind of have to give people the benefit of the doubt. It isn't as if he was, on the Valiant more than once.
Yeah, he just got there like 2 days before this.
He did, and he didn't know what was going to happen. He just wanted to help out the Valiant because they asked him to, the crew asked him to do that.
He thought that they were going to be successful.
He thought they were, and he didn't know what to expect. So I don't think that he, maybe a tongue lashing, but otherwise, I don't think he would have gotten any more punishment than that.
Would you call this a great episode?
Yes, it was.
Nice. Very good, babos. Could I get a kiss?
Maybe another one.
Okay.
Although I could have withheld them until the end of the episode.
Well, you can still give me a kiss at the end, James.
Well, I would have withheld all kisses until the end of the episode.
Then we just have like one long makeout session.
No, I don't think anyone will want to hear that. No, that's boring. You don't need to hear our makeout sessions.
I love you, Jace.
I love you too.
Yes. After we watched Deep Space Nine,
yes,
we cuddled for a little while. I won't go deeper into that in case your dad's listening.
No, we don't need to talk about any cuddle sessions either.
Okay.
That's a little bit personal.
Okay.
You don't want to get too personal, People might find out stuff and use it against us, Yes. I mean,
then we made focaccia pizza. I thought that went pretty well.
It was so good. I do agree. I think it would have been great if the crust was a little thicker, but it turned out excellent. We did forget one thing. We forgot to put the artichoke hearts on our pizza, but
we even took them out.
I know. And
you realize that when the pizza was in the oven, I didn't even pick up on it.
I was like, I thought we got everything on there, and I thought, we forgot the artichoke hearts, but it's okay though because everything else tasted so good on the pizza.
I really liked it, babes.
I liked it immensely. And the next time we make any kind of pizza, we will put artichoke hearts on it.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
I think I told you this the other day.
Maybe you did.
I'm considering going back to eating meat.
Mm-hmm.
But I go back to factory farming and how bad those animals were treated.
And I've told you that there are ways that you can get good quality meat without worrying about factory farms. I mean, there are companies like ButcherBox.
Right.
I think I can say that because ButcherBox is being promoted, that ship any kind of meat you want, chicken, beef, pork, whatever. But that the animals are eating, eating stuff from the land, like the grass. And you know that they're not being put in conditions that would be questionable.
So I guess this means that I should take the chicken that I put on my Walmart order off and wait until I can find an acceptable source of meat.
I think if you look for stuff that says like free range or grass fed.
I've heard that that's a little bit misleading, those labels now. There's ways to get around it. So you can say free range, but it's not exactly that.
But there's no way that you would have known that, though. I just think that if you're going to do that, I really think so. So I am someone that believes that anything that you get, especially meat products, there needs to be GMO labels on it. I think because we need to know what's in our food and what to expect if we use it. And I think it's important to know that.
But a GMO label won't tell you if chicken, for example, is put in a cage with 16 other chickens, right?
But then there has to be, I think you might be right. There may be some ways, there may be some misleading things, like even cage-free eggs. How do you know that they're really cage-free, and what does that even matter?
Exactly.
I mean, how do you even know that? Because people have profited over grass-fed, over saying that they're grass-fed, but I think, I don't know, there are ways to get the, good quality chicken and good quality meat.
To me, it just goes back to this thing of you can't change the system.
Unfortunately, you can't do that. And I don't know that there is a way to do it. You can not support companies, for example, like Monsanto, that does have, GMO products or GMOs in their products. That's one way that you can help with that. Looking into the grass-fed stuff that you buy, only buying from companies that have free-range meats and grass-fed meats. There's little things you can do. I mean, I don't think it's not doable, but you just got to look into it.
Oh. So no roasted chicken for me this week is what you're saying.
You don't have to.
Okay.
I think maybe give it some time.
Okay, that's fair.
Don't hurry to get chicken right away, but just give it some time.
Don't rush to go back to meat, and really plan that this isn't out.
Right.
Don't just eat meat this week because I kind of want to.
But there are ways to do that. There are ways to look into things like that, and it doesn't have to be. Even if you have to call up the grocery store.
Oh, they're not going to know any information.
You don't think so?
No.
Or look into talking. Looking into local farms.
I guess I could do a little bit more research on this.
Yeah, I honestly think that farmers markets are really good. In getting like the freshest things, but I don't think farmers markets are open during the winter or the fall.
But
maybe the fall.
You ordered from McDonald's this week.
What does that have to do with anything?
How do you feel about that? Because those animals were probably tortured.
Well, so I kind of think a little bit differently than you do. There are just some things that I don't really want to know about stuff that I order, just because if I did, I probably wouldn't eat meat again.
Yeah.
And I like meat, and I'm not going to lie. I like meat. I'm not going to be a vegetarian anytime soon, and not a vegan anytime soon. So sorry, all you vegans and vegetarians. But I'm not. I've always been a meat lover, and I'm not going to change for anybody.
Good.
And I don't expect anyone to agree, but that's how I see it. But there are things where I just don't need to know about it. I don't need to constantly know about it because I don't want to be on constant red alert.
Okay.
If that explains a little bit.
It does a little bit.
I don't want to be like completely consumed with fear that I just don't want to eat any of it anymore. That's how I see it.
Alana.
Yes.
We watched a couple movies yesterday.
We did, but I also wanted to mention something else that I introduced you to.
Tell me. Oh, you're talking about the ice cream. Oh,
yes. So I am a big fan of Tillamook ice creams. I don't get them very often, but I've been to Tillamook and I've tried their ice cream there in the factory. And the first time I tried this ice cream, I fell in love with it because I love banana splits, and I don't eat them very often. And so I ordered a carton of Tillamook banana split ice cream. It has some chocolate in it. The bananas are in the ice cream, so they're very, very finely in there. And there's some nuts, and there's also some little pieces of cherries. And it tastes really good with Hershey syrup. And I thought that, hey, I should let Rick try this because it may be a little different, but I think he's going to like it.
And I'm kind of set in my ways when it comes to ice cream. Plus, I'm not a huge fan of banana splits.
And I like them.
But this is really good.
Yes, it's delicious. I honestly think that you would have liked them even if there were pieces of bananas in it, because I think bananas and ice cream are really good together.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that one. But this was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yes.
But when you're gone, I'm probably going to eat all of it.
Uh-oh. How about this?
Yes.
Before I leave today,
yes,
you could watch me eat the remainder of what's in the carton.
How about this? Here's a better idea.
Go ahead.
Why don't we both each have a bowl before you go?
That sounds good, babe.
I can't let you have all of the ice cream.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, on to the movies.
You showed me 2 films last night.
Yes, and
Both released in 2004 and both dealing with memory loss.
yes, which I thought it was very ironic that they were both made on the same year, and I realized, yes, they were both dealing with memory loss, but I thought that they were both
they were fun.
They were fun movies, yeah. Romantic movies at best.
We start off the evening
Yes.
with The Notebook.
Oh, yes. I have a lot of things to say about The Notebook.
We should also say that this is the second Saturday in a row where Alana has shown me a movie that was inspired by a Nicholas Sparks book.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that he wrote that book, but it doesn't surprise me that he a movie would be done in honor of one of his books.
Do you want me to tell the story of The Notebook, or do you want to take the lead?
Why don't I take the lead? Because I watched it twice, but you could set it up. Maybe we'll both do it.
Okay.
We'll both do it. How about that?
I'll talk about the old couple. I'll just give away the beginning of it.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Well, you said we're both gonna.
Okay. Go ahead.
James Garner, aka Old Ryan Gosling.
So let me just say really quickly, in the beginning of the movie, the nurse introduces him as Duke.
Okay.
Yes.
Goes to see his wife, a.k.a. old Rachel McAdams, played by Jenna Rollins, who used to be married to John Cassavetes, and I believe is the mother of Nick Cassavetes, who directed She's So Lovely.
Okay.
Anyways, I digress. She's suffering from dementia. Mm-hmm. And he still wants to believe that he can connect with her.
Right.
So he starts telling her the story of how they got together.
Well,
Jaylo.
Okay, first off, I don't think you should have started with that.
Okay, why not?
Because I was going to lead up to it, and then you ruined it. So.
Sorry, babes. But can I say this in fairness, though? Before we started watching the movie, I knew that was the storyline, and I not read it.
And I basically told him to shut up and watch the movie because
did I get that right, babes?
You did get it right, but I wanted you to be quiet because I wanted to show it to you because I didn't want you to completely ruin the movie.
Why don't we say this?
Yes.
Sometimes I make stuff up.
Yeah, you do.
And it's possible that they were not a couple. James Garner is just telling her story about 2 people who may or may not have been them. And we don't know at this point. Sometimes Rick lies, sometimes Alana indulges.
Oh my goodness.
Alana.
You're not doing a good job of redeeming yourself.
Babes.
I love you, though.
I love you, too.
Okay, so basically, he's reading her a story about a young couple named Noah and Allie. Noah, played by Ryan Gosling. Allie, played by Rachel McAdams. And they meet each other at a carnival. Noah makes a complete fool of himself because he really wants to ask Allie out. And she's like, no, I don't want to go out with you. I think you're an idiot. Whatever. He does it so, he does it so well that were they on the Ferris wheel, I think they were?
Yeah, he gets the Ferris wheel to stop. I think one of his friends is the operator.
Yes.
He climbs the Ferris wheel, starts hanging from it, and says, I'm not gonna get down from here unless you agree to go on a date with me.
And she says, okay, I'll go on a date with you.
She pulls his pants down.
Yeah, his underwear. She completely embarrasses him, and he lets her embarrass him, I guess.
Keep going, Jaylo.
Anything that she could do to, make him even more embarrassed. And so, I don't know how many, I think it might have been a day after, and he sees her again and says, hey, aren't you going to get ready for our date? Like, what date? Oh, the date that you promised me you're going to go out on. Like, oh, okay. Well, they end up seeing quite a bit of each other. There's there's scenes of them going to the beach, and they go to her house, which is, and she comes from a lot of money.
She's super rich.
She's super disgustingly rich. And her father seems like a reasonable guy, makes a lot of money. Her mother isn't so nice in the beginning, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So they're at the house and all that. You also see him interacting with his father.
Who seems like a nice guy.
Who seems like a very nice guy. She meets his father, and he kind of tells a story about how Noah used to stammer and stutter, and that he would make him read some poetry, and it helped him with his stuttering. And from then on, he would read poetry all the time. I think he would write it too, right? I think he would just read it, but I could be wrong. He would quote it, though. He would quote it, and he was very good at quoting poetry. Well, so they are very much in the throes of their relationship. He goes to see her family for, I guess it was a Sunday dinner. Her mother takes her aside and says that you shouldn't be with this guy because he's poor white trash, for lack of a better term. And they're rich. They're very rich, and she tries to...
What are you doing seeing this peasant?
Yeah.
You should be swimming in money.
You should be swimming in money. And you should do whatever we tell you to do, pretty much. We should go to the schools, you should go to Sarah Lawrence, we want you to. Actually, it's her.
Spend an hour a day swimming in your money, and then study the rest of the time.
Right. Yes. She wanted her to be smart, but she also wanted her to get all the finer things in life. Well, so they're on their date, and this is where it kind of culminates. They are at this, he takes her to this house that used to be an old plantation, and his dad was fixing it up.
No.
No?
Spoiler alert, they end up buying the plantation, but at this point, Ryan Gosling just dreams that one day he'll be able to afford it and fix it up.
And he takes her there, and fast forward to the evening, things get a little steamy. We don't have to go in there. We can kind of imagine what goes on. It's 2:00 in the morning.
2 in the morning.
And I should mention that Noah and Allie are both 17 years old, so they're not of age. It's 2:00 in the morning. They're in their, they're pretty much
in their birthday suits.
In their birthday suits. His friend Finn comes and says, "Hey, you got to be careful because Allie's parents are looking for her, and you're in big trouble. I just want you to let you know that." So she goes back to the house. Her mother is severely scolding her.
Noah is listening to this from the other room.
Right.
The dad's kind of just being quiet.
The dad's like, "No, okay,
kids will be kids," type of thing.
Yeah.
No, not excited about it, but he understands.
He can't. It seems like the mom is the one that's taking the reins in this relationship, I guess. And she basically says, "You can't be with this guy, and I'm gonna make you do what I tell you to do, and you are gonna pack up your stuff. You're gonna go to New York, and you're gonna forget about him entirely." And she says, "No, I'm not going to." But
her mother got her wish about her forgetting about him entirely, but it took 70 years. Keep going, Jaylo.
So before she leaves for college, her and Noah get into this huge knockout, drag down fight. And she basically says it's over. She dares to say that it's over. And she's and this girl is a very, very prideful girl. She doesn't want to admit when she's wrong because she likes to kind of instigate stuff for a lot of it. And they fight. They always fight. And she basically says, "It's over. It's over." And then after that, after he leaves, she realizes it. Wait a minute. It can't be over. It can't be over. Well, she ends up going to
Sarah Lawrence.
No, she ends up going to that train station. I think it was. Was it? No. Wait. Was it? It was some place where they were working.
Could I explain? Or I won't explain. Never mind.
Go on.
Okay.
That you're pretty much taking over the whole conversation. Go on.
The mom decides that after this little act of rebellion, she's not only going to send her daughter away to Sarah Lawrence, but she's going to speed it up by, I believe, a week or two.
Yep.
So the next day she's expected to go. Before they take her to the train station, I believe it is.
Yes.
She goes down to the construction site where Ryan Gosling is working. But Gosling is out doing something. She runs into his friend and says, let him know that I still love him, even though we got in a fight last night and we both said some stuff we shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
She leaves. Continue, Jaylo.
And he told her, basically, you know, it's over. You know, just forget about him. She leaves. She goes to Sarah Lawrence. Somewhere in between, in that year that she's gone, Noah writes her 365 letters every day of the year. For every day of the year. He doesn't know why she hasn't responded. And that will be talked about later. Meanwhile, she meets this rich guy named Lon Hammond.
Are you skipping ahead a little bit? You can do that. I'm just...
Well,
you can skip ahead.
There's a lot of...
Okay, we want people to see this, so skip ahead. Let's talk about Mr. Hammond.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in between, but it's not like the main point. Okay. So she meets Mr. Hammond.
Man after my own heart.
Right, who's this super rich guy. He's in love with her. She forgets all about Noah for a while and agrees to marry this guy. Her mother is over the moon because she's marrying into money. They're getting ready. She's getting the dress, and apparently, I guess it's a really beautiful dress. They're saying, you know, Lon will just love you in this. Blah, blah, blah. They're excited. She has a ring and everything. And then she sees Noah in her head, and she's like, you know what?
I gotta stop you there.
What? Why?
Because you didn't see Noah in her head. What happened was, by this time, Noah had... You're pushing back with your legs, babe.
I know.
Noah had bought the plantation, fixed it up, and he was going to sell it. They took a picture of him for the paper, I think is advertising, that he put it on the market.
Well, I was going to say that. But
but she saw him in the paper when she's wearing her wedding dress. So she didn't see him in his head.
Okay.
In her head, rather.
All right. Now are you going to let me continue?
Yes.
Or are you going to take over the conversation?
Sorry. I thought I was supposed to help you with this, but keep going.
A little testy this morning.
Sorry, babe. I won't.
You're not helping.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, so, okay, she sees his face, excuse me. She sees his face in the paper, and all of a sudden those memories start flooding back.
Yes.
She then tells her fiance, look, I got to clear my head for a couple of days. And I need to go to Seabrook. I guess that's somewhere in the South. She goes to, where else but, the plantation where he is. I don't know where she's staying. I'm guessing she's staying with her parents before she goes there. They talk about what's going on in their lives. She tells him about Lon. And I don't remember him talking about, so there's this girl named Martha.
Kind of a booty call.
Yeah, it's implied that they're just messing around because he's lonely. Her name is Martha. I think she's more invested into the relationship, and Noah obviously is not. So they talk about their the woman and the man in their lives, but they spend a couple days together because old memories start coming back. Oop. Sorry.
And fart.
Not that. That's a stopper. That's a door stopper.
Okay, keep going, babes.
And so a couple things happen. Now I'm trying to remember now. Did she meet Martha before her mom got to her? I think it was after.
Yes. No, it was before. Martha comes over because she wants to do some stuff.
Yeah, and meanwhile, they were just waking up, and so it's a little bit crazy.
But what's her name invites Martha in.
Which I thought was really weird.
I did too, but it kind of worked for this movie.
Yeah, so she invites Martha in, and Allie's like, hey, Noah's told me about you. And Martha says, yes, she told me about you too. She ends up staying there until the evening. And then I believe Martha leaves.
Yes.
And Noah walks her to his car, and she realizes there's no future with Noah.
But she doesn't seem too upset by it.
She doesn't seem too upset. I thought she was, but maybe she wasn't as upset. Because she figured, okay, well, I guess.
She was stressed out that Noah and her can't be together, but she liked Allie. She got why they
were good together, yeah.
Yes.
And I thought it was very weird. So, and then her mother shows up and says, look, we got a hold of Lon and he is on his way here. So,
and Allie is pissed.
And Allie is very upset, and she confronts her mom and says, where are those letters? So she figures out that her mother, the reason why she didn't get the letters is because her mother hid the letters. So she says, I want to take you for a drive for a minute. They hop in her car. And she's like, where are we going to? And she said, we're going here. And they stop at this construction place, right?
Yes.
And she says, you see that man over there? And she's like, mm-hmm. And she goes, he was my boyfriend, and I loved him very much. And we loved each other very much, but I was advised not to be with him because he was too poor. And she explains that she understands what Allie is going through. And then she cries and says, I do love your father. I do. He's a great husband. He's a great provider. He's a great father. I do love him. And then she takes her back to the plantation house. They get out of the car. And she says, Allie, and opens the trunk, I believe. Was the trunk?
Yep, and hands her the letters.
And hands her all the letters. And she says, I hope you make the right decision for yourself. I know I'm butchering it.
That's okay.
Yes. So, fast forward. I know there's other details in between, but I wanted to get to this. Fast forward, she's talking to her fiance. And he says, well, I could do 3 things. I could shoot the guy, I could fight him, I could kick him, or I could leave you. And he says, look, I understand that you can't forget your first love, but I still love you. And you have to make your own decision.
Spoken like a true Hammond. Keep going, Jace.
Right. So, and the next thing you see is she decides to, it's implied that she leaves Lon and goes back to the plantation to be with Noah and marry him. In the midst of all that, the children visit, and Miss Allie, the old Allie, doesn't know who they are. And this was in the midst of the story, and I totally forgot that because there's a reason why I brought that up. So Allie ends up with Noah. James Garner says, at the end of the book, and they lived happily ever after. And then she looks at him and she's like, who does? And realizes then that it was them that he was reading about. And for a moment, he feels like he got her back. But then, not too soon afterwards,
I got a little bit too arrogant. They're dancing, and then in the middle of the dance, he forgets who he is and starts screaming.
She says, help, I need help. And he's devastated. They come in, they give her a shot. I'm guessing it's like a calming shot or whatever it is. And tell her, okay, you calm down, everything's, and I guess the nurse mentioned that she was sundowning, which is a term for dementia patients. I don't think I need to go into that right now.
No.
Anyway, so they give her a calming shot. She calms down. I believe James Garner goes back to his room. Am I correct?
Yes.
The next day comes, the nurse comes in to wake up Noah, and he's not responsive, so they take him to the hospital. And I don't know, it was a cardiac arrest, I believe.
That was the implication.
It was the implication that something happened with his heart. So he comes out of the hospital, they take him back. You only see him in the hospital, and then it fast forwards to when he's back, and
we don't know how long he was.
We don't know how long he's in the hospital. Fast forward to him being back in the nursing home, and he's awake, and the nurse comes in and says, "Mr. Calhoun," that's his last name, "Mr. Calhoun, you can't see Miss Allie tonight." And he says, "Yeah, but I really need to see her." And she says, "That's against the rules." And she said, "Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'm not going to be able to watch you while this is going on for a while, but I don't want to find that you're not here. I don't want to find out that you actually visited her, but I'm going to leave you to what you're going to do."
Another example of plausible deniability.
Exactly. She leaves. He sneaks out of his room and goes to her room. And I believe, is this like in the morning?
This is late at night.
Late at night.
Jenna Rollins, if I may add something.
Yes, go ahead. Go.
Jenna Rollins briefly remembers him and says, "Do you think our love is strong enough to survive this?" And he says, "I think our love is strong enough to survive anything." They talk for a minute. He gets in a bed.
She also asks him, because you forgot.
I said they talk for a minute.
Yes, they do talk. She does ask.
And in that minute, she asks him.
Yes. She asks him, "Do you think our love will take us away together?" And he says, "I think our love will be able to do anything I believe that our love can do anything it wants." And they tell each other they love each other. They said goodnight.
He gets in the bed.
He gets in the bed next to her, and he says, "I'll be seeing you."
And then they die.
The nurse comes in. She's singing, looks at them both, and they're pretty much dead in the same bed.
She's like, da da da,
la 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 la, whatever
it is.
And
she does, da 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 da.
She doesn't do a funeral dirge.
Okay. The movie ends with her singing a funeral dirge.
But they die together as they should have, and that was pretty much the ending of the movie.
Right.
I thought it was very romantic, and I thought the music was fantastic in the movie.
The music is greatness.
Oh, it was like New Orleans jazz, I think it was. It was great.
I liked it. I thought it was really, really good.
Good.
Yeah. I wish we would have spent a little more time with the younger versions of themselves. For example, I would have liked to have known how they went from getting back together to starting a family. What did he do for a living? Did he just live off her, or did he become rich?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I would have wanted to know if he built a business for himself, or if he gone up in rank in a company.
Did Allie ever get back on good terms with her mom? Mm-hmm. Those are some questions I would have liked.
Did she decide that she wanted to be a stay-at-home mother and wife?
No, I'm guessing she's more of a women's lib type. Having said that, sometimes women do change after they have kids. And
they do.
It was also a different time.
It was a different time, yes.
But overall, it was really good.
Great. I'm glad you liked it.
I enjoyed it.
Very good. I enjoyed it too. I really thought it was a great movie.
So, Jaylo.
Yes.
We have not read the books that The Notebook and
A Walk to Remember
are based on.
I'd like to read them, I think.
That's maybe possible one day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible right now.
Uh-huh.
For me it is. For you, not so much, because you're not on board.
I will be. I am determined to get back on it.
But no, adaptations can be tricky.
Right.
Nicholas Sparks movies, from the two I've seen, the dads of the female protagonists are good guys. Mm-hmm. One female protagonist does not have a mother, and the other one has a mom who is a little bit questionable.
She's very uptight.
What do you think Nicholas Sparks teaches us about the male and female parents, if anything?
I think that maybe he teaches us that there are times where male and female parents switch roles, right? Because you would think that the dad would not just, I would have thought that the dad would not like Noah, not just because he's trying to take his daughter out, but because he was a poor guy, and would say, no, you need to marry a guy that's rich and will take care of you. I thought that maybe his dad would, or her dad would be that way, but it was her mom that was that way. So I thought it was kind of interesting.
And Noah, as far as we know, doesn't have a mom.
No, it's not. It's implied that maybe his mom died or something.
Okay.
Or maybe they're divorced. I don't know, but you don't see his mom. It's just him and his dad. And it seems like his relationship with his dad is really good. Yeah, for the most part.
Is there anything else you want to say about this film?
Yes, I do. I liked in some of the fighting scenes with Noah and Allie how Noah, there was one particular scene where they were having an argument, and Noah basically said, look, we do this all the time. We fight all the time, but we always got through it.
That reminded me of us, kind of.
Yeah, but we don't have a knockout.
No, we don't have fights.
We don't have explosive fights.
No.
We get testy with each other, and then after that, it's pretty much over.
True.
We don't dwell on the whole thing the whole thing all day. It's not like it's not like that.
Good
no,
point.
they get into it like, well, you're arrogant. Yeah, well, you're a pain. It's always like that. And he put her in her place. I like that he put her in her place and said, look, you're too proud. You're a pain. You don't do you only do what your parents tell you to do, and you don't know how to have fun for yourself.
Here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
A little bit off the topic, but maybe not.
Yeah.
My mind keeps going back to mothers and Nicholas Sparks. Uh-huh. Can we assume that Noah was a good dad, but Allie was a bad mother? Maybe too self-absorbed. And
oh, you mean like in retrospect, even though we don't see them raising their children?
Yes. The reason I'm saying this is because when we see the kids talking to James Garner, they're basically saying, hey, Dad, you should come home. You don't have to be in here with her.
Yeah.
You could join us on the outside. Live more of your life.
But she's not going to remember us. She doesn't remember us.
Right. They're kind of dismissing the mom. And we get the sense that if it wasn't for dear old Dad, they wouldn't even bother coming by.
It might be a theory. I mean, we don't know how she was before she had Alzheimer's or dementia, rather. Alzheimer's, dementia. I guess it's in the same boat. But we don't know how she was even before the dementia. Maybe they decided, well, she's not worth our time because she's not going to remember us anyway. So why bother?
So you don't think that it says that she was bad to her kids or anything?
Not necessarily. Although the way that you raise your kids reflects on your kids for the rest of their lives. So I can't say that she was a bad mother, but I also can't say she was a good one either. It could be either or, but it sounds to me like James Garner was an amazing dad, and that he really cared about. Well, he was an amazing dad anyway, or amazing husband too, because even though his wife was slipping away from him, he was dedicated, and he didn't want to leave her regardless of whatever his children said.
He loved Allie from the moment he saw her.
Absolutely.
He's kind of like this lost puppy dog. He's looking for that motherly love, right?
It's really sweet, I think.
We never hear about him in this movie going out with anybody else.
No, he was hooked.
Allie kind of, has some fun.
Yeah, she kind of, wanders off and, kind of sows her wild oat, so to speak.
It was a good movie, though.
But I think she realizes that she really wanted Noah and she didn't want anybody else.
Yes.
Even though she tried to make it with Lon, and, you know, it wasn't going to work out with him anyway. And Lon was gracious enough to give her up.
That was cool.
But I thought he was going to, and I only saw it twice. This is the second time I saw it. I thought he was going to, you know, fight like crazy to get her back.
I'm glad he didn't.
You didn't? You are?
Yes, because it's more realistic. I felt. Lon loves her enough to let her go.
But come on. I mean, in real life, do you think a man would sit there and let his girlfriend or fiance go just like that?
I think in real life he'd probably yell at her a little bit more.
I honestly think that if he really felt like they had a fighting chance, he'd fight for her or try, at least.
But he's also super rich. He could
get anybody else, right?
Exactly. Just go somewhere
Well, if it was okay, let me ask you a question. If it was the other way around and he was a poor guy,
yes.
Do you think he would just sit there and let his girl go like that? I don't think so.
No.
I think he would fight for everything that he had.
Not if the wedding is like a week away or whatever it was in this movie. You know.
Not if the wedding was a week away? What do you mean?
Well, wasn't their wedding supposed to be like really, really close to this?
It was implied that it was close, but we don't know exactly how close it was.
But it's fairly close.
Fairly close, yeah.
Right.
Fairly close.
Yeah, if this was a poor dude and their wedding was super close, no, he'd fight a lot harder for her.
Yes, he would.
But Lon's like, he's rich. He can get somebody else.
But Noah, I just love that Noah didn't give up no matter what Allie threw at him. He just would not give up on her. And he got her in the end because he fought for her.
And then she got dementia.
Right. And
presumably there were some good years, though.
It sounds like it. I mean, they were married for a long time, however long it was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
If they made a Notebook 2 talking about the in-between years, Allie's maybe a horrible mother is a wrong term, but she's distant to her kids. She's self-centered.
That's still not a good thing to do.
Right. She's
very neglectful.
She smacks him around a little bit. She wants her daughter to be just like her. She forces her son to go into sports when he's really
and then she ignores the other
academic.
And she ignores the other daughter.
Right. But is she faithful to Noah during the marriage, or does she have affairs on the side? And I see Noah as sort of this puppy dog who will go back to her regardless of what she does.
Do you think? I honestly think he has a backbone.
Okay. But
maybe he has a backbone in other areas, but when it comes to Allie, he's completely under her spell. That's how I see it.
Okay.
But when it comes to putting his foot down on fighting for her, he'll do that. He'll be her champion. But when it comes to her and what she wants to do,
she wears the pants in that family.
Well, I don't know, but I think that he's definitely under her spell.
Yes.
Whatever spell it is, but he can put his foot down when he's able to. Because she was a prideful girl.
Yes.
It was very good though.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't believe we are like Noah and Allie at all.
No, you're not super rich. You don't spend your time just like making it rain.
No, I don't have enough money to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
But how we did.
I'm a lot more fun than she is. Well, maybe Noah has.
She seemed fun.
She was fun, but she didn't know how to have fun. She didn't know how to have fun until she met Noah. It sounds like.
Yeah, she's new to it.
Yeah. But she was having fun when they were at the beach and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she could. They were very good with their parts.
I liked everybody in this film.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
Yes.
The music was amazing.
Jenna Rollins is still alive at 90.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the name Jenna, right? Jenna sounds so much like a young name.
And I told you that I made this up, of course, because she's going by Jenna professionally as long as I can remember.
Well, that is part of her name, though.
Right. But I told you that she changed her name to Jenna like 10 years ago to get in good with the techno crowd.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
But it is a young person's name. At one point, she was young, though.
She was young. Well, I think a part of her name was Virginia, as you found out. And I've met young Virginias.
I wonder what that's like for her, because she presumably remembers what it was like being a young person. Mm-hmm. And now she's this older person and has watched society change in a lot of ways pass her by. Mm-hmm. What do you think her day-to-day existence is like?
I would imagine that she is looking back at her life and thinking, wow, how things have changed. This would not have happened in my day. I'm nearing the end of my life and
was married to an underground film legend.
Yeah, I think I did hear his name before, but I wasn't familiar with his work or anything.
Yes. But
we
watched another movie, Jaylo. Unless you had anything more to say about this film.
No, okay. I don't. I think that we have pretty much covered all of it. Yes. It was very good.
Let's get to 51st Dates, a film that I have a lot of thoughts about. Do you want to give the overall view of the picture?
Yes. The first time I watched it entirely was I think a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. This is set in Hawaii, my home state. You've lived there before.
And my mom was born in Guam but raised in Hawaii until they moved to Alaska.
Wow, I didn't know she was born in Guam. That's interesting. Anyway, so it starts off with all these girls talking about their trips to Hawaii, and they just happen to be on the island of Oahu, which I grew up on.
I used to live there.
Yes, that's my home. And they're talking about this. They're talking about this guy, and each of them have different names for this guy: Harry, Henry, whatever. And they were explaining about all the weird things that he said, he was this he did this thing, but he never really told me about where he lived, and he was always kind of distant, and all he wanted to do was have fun. And then you see this girl, the last girl, I think she was a Southern girl, right? And he's telling her, "Oh, I have to go to Peru." Well, maybe when you come back from Peru, because she's thinking that there's something between them, and he's like, "No, well, see you later."
Yes,
it was one of his relationships. Well, he goes to this cafe. I believe it's the Hukilau Cafe, and meets this guy that he gives him breakfast. And
Reese's peanut butter cups and eggs.
Well, no, what he did was he said, "What did you have for breakfast?" "Oh, I had a Reese's peanut butter cup and a thing of Gatorade." That's what the waitress asked him. And he said, "No, I'm going to give you." She said, "No, I'm going to give you some Spam and eggs." And I personally like it because that's what I grew up on. But the guy was like, "Hey, you want some Reese's peanut butter cups with your eggs?" He was like, "No, that's okay." Actually, that sounds really gross. Well, he looks over. There's some characters at the restaurant, too, that we don't need to go into because they're kind of there. He looks over and sees Drew Barrymore's character named Lucy.
Reading a Tom Robbins book.
Yes. And who's Tom Robbins? Do we know who Tom Robbins is?
I know who he is. The book that I've actually read of his is called Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, which may have been what she was reading. I honestly didn't catch the name of the title of the book. I think he's a little bit overrated. He does humor books. A lot of professors say that he's this amazing writer, and he may well be, but it's just not for me.
I keep getting him mixed up with the other Robbins guy. Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
But he's not Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a motivational person. Yeah. Which I'm not familiar with.
I've delved into some Tony Robbins on Getting the Edge is a program I did, but that's a story for another time.
Okay. Anyway,
my dad left us right after Thanksgiving. It's a famous YouTube clip. But
yes, I remember that because you told me it was a very interesting story when you said it.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, okay. Anywho, so on with the story. And he notices right away that Lucy is making these waffle houses. She's stacking them up, and what else is she doing with them?
Kind of folding them the right way and all of this type of thing.
Right. So...
housing them up.
Yeah, so she comes over there. He comes over there and is trying to talk to her. Is that before he pretends that he can't read just to get her attention? Yeah. So he goes over there and talks to her. And she says, hey, would you like to sit down for a minute? And, I have a spot open. And she says, my name is Lucy. And he says, my name is Henry Roth. And so nice to meet you. And then
they start talking. And then the next day, so it's implied that they're going to see each other the next day for breakfast. She says, would you like to come over for breakfast? I do have an art class. I teach an art class at 10 o'clock, but do you want to come over and have breakfast again? And he's like, okay, sure. He goes over there. She forgets all about him. She calls him a pervert. She's like, hey, my name is Henry. I remember I met you yesterday. He's like, what are you doing here, pervert? And she's saying, hey, this guy, I need some help. Nick, I need you to help me. Could you please get him away from me? So she talks to the head waitress, Sue. And she explains that Adam Sandler talks to her.
Yes, Adam Sandler. I think you should take this part.
Sue explains that around a year ago,
why are you laughing?
Drew Barrymore's character, whose name is...
Lucy,
thank you.
Yes.
Was out getting pineapples with her father. Of course, a Hawaiian thing like that.
On the North Shore.
Yes. There was an accident. Don't worry, the father's alive and well. But Lucy suffered some brain damage. She can remember everything in her life up until the day before the accident. So whenever she wakes up, she thinks that it's October 13th.
Which is the day of the accident.
Right.
Yep.
And people in her life have been working hard to keep this secret from her.
And by the way, I should mention that this is her dad's birthday.
Exactly.
Yes.
And she comes to the restaurant every single day because she did that on Sundays, and October 13th
of the Sunday
was a Sunday of that year.
Yeah.
All right, Jaylo.
And so there's some other things. I mean, there's some characters like I guess I'll mention some of them. Rob Schneider, who I thought was really, really funny in this, plays this guy named Ula, who's supposed to be this local guy. He wasn't too bad, actually. He has 4 kids that he takes everywhere. And they're like, Henry Roth is this guy that works with like walruses and dolphins. And
that's Adam Sandler.
Yes. That's Adam Sandler. And he works with Ula with the dolphins and the walruses and everything, and tries to clean them up and things like that. And and there's this like weird Russian lady. Very, very strange.
I think she has the same name as Miss A. So we're not going to say her name.
No. That was a different person.
That was? Okay.
No, she's a Russian lady. I don't remember what her name is, but it's implied that she's like, she's into...
lots of sex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Men and women, doesn't matter. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get to her later. And Alexa... okay. Miss
A.
Miss A was a different person. I don't even know if that person was a guy. The weird person in the resort. Or okay. I don't know who that is. But I thought that person was kind of annoying. Okay.
Back to the story. So he hears this news.
Yep.
And then what happens, Jaylo?
He hears this news, and it shows this really funny scene where she is in their dad's house, and she's getting ready for his birthday party. And she has the same cake and the same candles, and they sing happy birthday to,
Yeah. And he gives her a copy of The Sixth Sense and says,
hey, you want to watch it?
You want to watch this?
Sure. And
it's only good if you haven't seen the ending before, which they've now presumably seen like 1,000 times.
Right.
So I can't believe Bruce Willis is dead.
Yeah, exactly. And the dad, so I guess I should say something about the dad. the dad is between a rock and a hard place because he always puts newspaper clippings of that accident on the porch. And so
the newspaper of the day of the accident.
Exactly.
Yes.
Her brother is like this muscle-bound guy that's kind of like he
wants to be an alpha, but he's really a beta.
That's really
the way
is.
I would describe him.
Yeah, he's no alpha guy, and he talks with a lisp.
Yes.
And his name is Doug.
Yes.
And he talks with a lisp. And he tries to get the girls, but never gets them. So anyway, and so they're getting to know Henry.
Not so fast.
Not so fast, though.
Jaylo.
What?
Henry doesn't know what to do.
He really doesn't.
Comes back a couple of days later. The chef guy comes out and says, "Hey, I was ordered to, if you try to do anything with Lucy, to stop you." He says, "Well, I'll bet you $20 that I can get Lucy to have me sit down with her again." He's like, $20?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we're on.
Okay.
He does some shenanigans. Next day it's double or nothing because he was unsuccessful.
And then he pretends to not be able to read. He's like, I can't read. And he's crying. He's pretending. And this is like a whole charade.
Yes.
And she's like, come on, I can't believe you pretended that you couldn't read. I already, saw through that. And he reintroduces himself to her. There was another day I thought was particularly funny where he goes back to see her again and she's speaking to him in Chinese.
That was, I thought it was Japanese.
It was Chinese.
Okay.
It's Chinese. And he's like, okay, doesn't speak English. Okay.
Good scenes.
It was.
Eventually, the family gets the wind of this and is not too thrilled with old Henry.
Nope. And so what he decides to do is he decides to make all these videotapes. And meanwhile...
We're skipping ahead a lot.
Yes, I know we're skipping ahead, but because there's a lot of things in there that are not like the main points and they're kind of like side plots.
Okay.
Meanwhile, her dad is talking to her and shows her all the newspaper clippings. Right? All the newspapers. Because they're trying to figure out what to do.
Okay, you skipped ahead too far when you started with the videotapes.
Okay, go on.
Can I backtrack?
Yeah.
What happens...
Sorry.
Jaylo.
It's a stopper. Okay, so...
Nothing to do with the baked beans for breakfast this morning.
We didn't have any baked beans. I didn't have any baked beans. I don't have any beans.
Oh, what ifs? You don't need more because you ate them all this morning. Okay. Henry goes over to her one day and she immediately jumps up and runs outside. Mm-hmm. He sees that there's a cop, like the ones who are going down your street right now.
Yeah.
Runs out and finds out that she's getting tickets because she has old tags on her car.
That's right. Exactly. Yes.
She says, well, no, these don't go bad for another 8 months.
It's October.
Right. The cop replies and says, wait a second, lady. You've had these since last year. You're not going to pull this shit with me. So he pulls out a nice newspaper, sees the date, starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Goes to the house. I believe Henry joins her.
Yep.
They go to the doctor's office. They meet 10-second Tom, who can only remember things for 10 seconds.
Hi, I'm Tom. Really funny.
Right. They go back to the house. She goes to bed knowing that she's going to forget everything. The dad invites Henry out on the lanai. They have drinks, and he says, well, what if there's a way that we could break it to her more gently?
Yep.
It's implied that it's a couple of days later. Henry drops off a tape to her. She goes inside to watch it, and it basically explains the accident and what's been going on in the world since that happened.
Yep.
She freaks out for like an hour, but then she's good, and then things start to blossom between the two of them. Jaylo, you take it from here.
Yeah, and she's trying to put things together like, he goes to sit next to her again in the morning because she has breakfast there every morning. And she says, actually, you shouldn't sit here with me because I have a boyfriend. It's like, oh, you have a boyfriend. Okay. And she's kind of piecing things together the more that they spend time together. It leads up to the scene where he spends a night at their house because I think she's still living with her dad. Is that correct? I think
at this point.
At this point, so she goes upstairs. They're lying next to each other. He asks her if she would marry him, and she says, "Of course." And so, knowing this, they fall asleep. He wakes up, and they wake up, and he's trying to talk to her, and she freaks out and starts going nuts, and eventually she hits him and knocks him out, and he hurts his head.
He says, "I'm going to give you some time. There's a tape downstairs. Watch it. I'm going to work and make this motherfucking money." So he goes to work.
For lack of a better term.
Right.
That's not what he said, by the way.
Oh, it isn't?
No, you're just putting words in his mouth. Okay. He didn't actually say it.
I won't be there.
He just gave him time. He just gave her time.
But he does go to work.
He does go to work, yeah.
Presumably for the money.
Right.
He's doing his thing, talking to Mr. Snyder, I believe.
Yeah.
She comes to him and says, "I know who you are now, because not only did I watch the tape, but at the end of the days when we haven't ended up together, I've been writing in this journal and I've been reading about you.
Yep.
I'm starting to see what this is doing to my dad and brother, and I couldn't be responsible if this happened to you. So what I'm going to do tonight is invite you over. We're going to look at the journal entries together so you know what I've been saying about you. Then we're going to burn it, and I'm going to send you on your way."
I'm going to break up with you, yeah.
Well, yeah, but she's breaking up also by burning the journal.
Right, exactly, yep.
Right.
Yep.
They do that.
And wasn't there a scene where he was like, maybe you should cut that one out?
Right, but we're not giving away everything.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
They do that. They kiss one last time. So we think.
Mm-hmm.
He walks off. She wakes up, forgets him the next day, and then what happens, Jaylo?
Well, he finds out that I don't know how long it is because they're still broken up. She pretty much tells him that I'm going to forget everything about you. I'm going to do what I can to forget you entirely.
Just covered that part. But keep
I know, okay. But I'm just.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Jason.
I'm telling you, you're getting on my last nerve.
Sorry, babes. I love you.
Going so well too. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So she finds out, she gets news from, I believe it was Sue, that she moves and decides that she doesn't want to be here anymore and goes to the art institute. The institute. I don't know what kind of a place. I'm guessing it's an art place.
Would it be all right if I interrupted you?
Yes.
Okay. Some time goes by. Adam Sandler, Henry, I love my Jaylo, decides that he's going to take a boat and sail to Alaska. He's wanted to do this for a very long time.
Yep.
He's about to depart. Her brother and father come down to wish him a goodbye. Mm-hmm. Dad pulls them aside and they're talking about life. And he says, "So how's Lucy doing now?" And he explains that she's now in the institution because she thought that she would be a burden. She's been there for about 3 weeks, but it's great because she's painting and she's singing and she's with people who can really help her deal with her situation.
Yep,
as best as possible.
Yeah, and she's teaching people how to paint stuff.
He gives Adam Sandler a present. Sandler goes off to sea, opens it up, realizes it's a CD of the Beach Boys, puts it on, and Jaylo, back to you.
Wouldn't it be nice? Well, and then he realizes because he puts it on, and he's just completely inconsolable. He's crying. I think he's crying in his car, right?
On his boat.
On his boat. He's like, "Why did you do this to me?" And then he remembers her singing that same song. And he realizes, I know what I'm going to do. I have to do it even if she doesn't remember me. I have to go to the institute. He goes to the institute and she's teaching an art class. She's teaching this guy how to paint and he doesn't think he did a good job. I think he was painting like stick figures or whatever it is. Right?
Something like that.
So he goes and he says, he looks for Lucy Whitmore. She's like, "Yes, this is Lucy." And he says, she says, what is your name? And he says, my name is Henry. And she says, Henry. Oh, could you come with me, please? And so they go into this area and they're talking. And she says, I don't know you, but I have dreams about you. And she says, why? Why do I have dreams about you? Go on.
He explains the situation, lets her know what's up, and says, you broke up with me because you thought you would have ruined your life you would have ruined my life had we stayed together. But I think my life is better with you. So, let's stay together. What you didn't catch on, babe, because it's a visual thing.
Yeah.
The room that they go into has paintings that she's made of somebody who looks a lot like Adam Sandler all over the walls.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But, that's understandable. So they get together, and then what happens, Jaylo?
And then it fast forwards because you don't see what happens until
She wakes up one day.
She wakes up one day, and he says, "Hey, do you want me to introduce you to your daughter?"
There's something before then that happens, babe.
What's that?
She wakes up. There's a videotape. She puts it in.
Yes.
Sees the report about the car accident. Sees some videotape of what's been going on with her life, including Rob Schneider marrying her to Adam Sandler before Rob Schneider's wife gave him the finger.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No, that wasn't his wife.
That was Rob Schneider's wife.
Was it?
Yes. In the movie. I mean, it's not his real wife, but that I believe that was a person.
No, it's like your wife is here, but I don't think that was her, right? Was it?
No, because when he's marrying them, he makes a comment about don't be one of those people who doesn't give this man sex after 10 years.
Right,
like
and then
my wife
like, your wife is here.
And then she gives him the finger.
Oh, okay,
which is great.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
She leaves the cabin and realizes that she's on a boat in Alaska. Mm-hmm. And then...
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow is playing.
Yes, as Somewhere Over the Rainbow is playing, he says, "Hey, do you want me to introduce you to your daughter?"
Mommy.
And then he says, "Say hi to mommy," and she's very happy, and that's when the movie ends.
And her grandfather was there too. Drew Barrymore's father was
her father, yeah. Her father, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she says, "Hi, Dad." Yep. And Doug, oh, by the way, her brother Doug ends up with the Russian lady.
The end.
The end.
I have a lot of thoughts on this movie.
Uh-huh.
I love the scene near the end of the movie when they go into the room with the drawings and she talks about her dreams and they get back together. Mm-hmm. I even love the ending, but it raises a lot of questions for me, as you know from last night.
I thought you said the ending was disturbing.
It was disturbing and I loved it.
Okay.
Because I love the way it ended, but it raises so many questions that it becomes disturbing when you start to think about it.
Okay, and I think of it differently, but go on.
Okay. Bunch of questions in my head. How does he plan this wedding? How does he convince her to marry him the day of the wedding? Mm-hmm. Because she has no memory of him except for in the dreams. Mm-hmm. How do they find out that she's pregnant?
How does she keep track of the pregnancy?
I could see that once they realize that Adam Sandler could help her with things like that.
Yeah.
Also, does he wake up in the middle of the night with labor pains?
Right.
How do they explain that? Mm-hmm. The next day where there's a newborn baby around. Mm-hmm. How do they explain that to her?
And then how does she take care of that baby? Because she has to, well, maybe her husband would help her with that, but.
He could do some of the breastfeeding. Enough men don't help out in that area.
That's gross.
Okay, what else?
They're not supposed to do that.
What happens if there's an accident on the boat? Mm-hmm. What happens if her father dies? What happens on a day if Adam Sandler gets a call and finds out that his parents are dying and he doesn't want to play this game anymore? Mm-hmm. What happens when the daughter is no longer this cute 5-year-old, but is this angry 16-year-old and goes into her mom's cabin and wakes her up by yelling in her ear, "You ruined my life. I can't have a life. I have to reintroduce you to myself every single day."
And what about my father? He did everything for you.
He did everything for you and nothing for me. I'm always hearing about mommy. We got to help mommy. What about mommy's daughter? You know.
Yeah.
What do you think of these questions, babe? And also, what happens if there's a problem with a boat and they capsize?
Right.
What do you think about some of my concerns? I have more.
I mean, I personally don't see it that way. I just kind of accepted it, but I can understand why it would keep you thinking.
In that sense, I would love to see a sequel to this movie, but not necessarily a comedy.
Oh, wow.
I would like to see a dramatic sequel to this movie where you find out what it's like to have a newborn baby that you have no memory of being pregnant for. Or what it's like having a teenage daughter with the same scenario.
Right.
What's it like on the day her father dies? That type of thing.
Yeah. No, I can understand that, but I think that's what makes a movie so riveting is that it leaves you thinking and it leaves you wanting more to the story. Like, why did it end like this?
Does Henry love her? Or does Henry see her as a way to repent for all the women in his life that he's driven away?
No, I think he genuinely loves her. And he was willing to do whatever he could to show her that. And I think he genuinely did love her. I don't think he would just do that for anybody. I don't think he would just do that for anybody else. That's how I see it.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And I don't think it was a way for him to repent for all of the past relationships. I think he saw that this relationship between him and Lucy was meaningful enough that he was willing to do whatever he could.
He's devoting his entire life to her.
He is, yeah, devoting his entire life.
Is that a good message to send to couples?
I think so, yes. I mean, to an extent, right? It's good in a sense to show, love and devotion between couples, but at what point does it take your entire life that you don't do anything for yourself, you don't take care of yourself? Does that make sense?
It does. You have to be there for somebody else, but you can't forget about yourself as well in your dreams.
In
a way, Henry did that because he adjusted his dreams, but he still got to go to Alaska with her.
Yes. But I think at some point you do have to take care of yourself so that you can be there for somebody else, but you also have to be there for yourself in some ways.
What does Henry do when her dad dies or becomes too ill to be with them?
That question can't be answered yet.
Okay.
We can't answer that yet because we don't know. There's a lot of ways that this movie could have gone, I think.
Does Henry lead a happy life past the last scene in the movie? Or is his existence sad? No way.
Well, it didn't seem to me like it was going to be sad because he felt like he would rather spend... He believed that she contributed to his life and that was going to be his life forever.
Right, but
it was going to...
Let me give you a scenario.
All right.
That day happens and it's amazing, and the next day happens and it's great too. 2 years later, something goes wrong with Henry's daughter. He realizes that she's vomiting, she's sick. They take her to a doctor. She has terminal cancer. How does that affect Henry's life? Can he really mourn for his daughter while still being there for Drew Barrymore? Assuming that's what happens.
It could go the other way too, where, that would be hard because he's busy taking care of his wife. But if his daughter's sick too, that means that he has to have the brunt of taking care of both of them.
I mean, the grandfather's there to help, but I'm talking about more the emotional aspect of it.
Oh, no, I understand that. I don't know how I would handle it, honestly. It's hard to say.
This is why you have me around, babe, to ask the tough questions.
Yeah. Or nonsensical ones, whichever one comes first. No,
aren't you glad that I asked these questions, though, babes? Doesn't make you think deeper.
No, I do. No. I think it's good. It's always good to question, what ifs in some ways.
Yes.
but to an extent.
Now tell me your thoughts on the film, because I've given most of mine.
Sorry.
That's right.
I honestly didn't see this ending as disturbing, but I would have wanted to know, I would want to know how she's able to deal with life as a wife and a mother if she has the severe brain injury. How is she able to cope with emotional things, and how is she able to function? Because there are people that have TBIs that can function, but there's little things that trigger their TBI. And I think that's fair to say. But how does she handle it? Because that's a pretty severe injury.
Something else that just came into my mind.
Yeah.
What does this film say about dating somebody with a form of an intellectual disability?
Well, my opinion is that I think she deserves to date someone, and I know that there's a part of her brain that doesn't function very well anymore, but she still is able to comprehend relationships. And even though that just one part of her brain, it's different where you have someone that was born with a mental challenge that can't be, that's not no fault of their own, and they can't understand it. Like if they have severe mental delays, right? They couldn't possibly understand relationships, except for maybe the relationship between them and their family and their friends, but they can't understand romantic relationships, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think that a person with a severe mental disability that is not able to think for themselves may not be able to get married.
You don't think that they should or shouldn't be able to?
I don't think that they would be able to. Not necessarily that they shouldn't, but that they wouldn't be able to understand it. If that makes any sense.
I get you.
Yeah.
Having said all the negative stuff, I really did enjoy this film.
It was a fun film.
Yes.
It really was. There's a lot of funny parts.
Yes. Rob Schneider was excellent.
Oh, so funny. He really, I will say this, for being a local guy, he wasn't that bad.
I wonder, babe, because he is part Filipino.
Yeah, but...
And there are tons of Filipinos in Hawaii. I wonder if he's visited there. Because he may have family on the island.
It's possible he may have. There is a lot of Filipinos, and he's half.
Yes.
So it's possible that maybe he had to visit there for...
weddings or...
Yeah, and he had to kind of... Maybe, I'm guessing he had to observe the locals and how they talk. And he was actually pretty good.
He was.
I have to say, he was very good. But he's also a good actor,
He was great in Deuce Bigelow.
Yes, that was a funny movie.
Such an incredible film.
That was really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. When he was dating that girl with Tourette's and the narcolepsy girl.
Adam Sandler also produced that movie.
Really?
Yes.
No, it was funny.
Did I tell you?
No.
That in 1997...
What?
This was after the release of Happy Gilmore, but before The Wedding Singer.
Yes.
I wrote a paper about Adam Sandler in middle school.
Really?
Yes. And I talked about basically his career up until that point.
Cool.
That's how much of a fan I was of the early stuff.
Wow. And did you get a good grade on that paper? Do you remember?
My teacher said that he would have liked a bibliography, but... A lot of people said that they really enjoyed the report, and it made them want to experience more of his work.
Did your peers read it, or did she read it in front of the class, or he?
If I remember correctly, and this is so many years ago, we put the assignment in folders and down on the table, and people could read them as they liked, and each of the students would get up, maybe give a 2-minute synopsis on their report.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. It does help to report on something or somebody that you're actually passionate about reporting on. And I think that's great. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Very good.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw this film, babes.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But The Wedding Singer is still probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler romantic comedies.
This one has a more complex ending, though.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It left me with so many questions.
But I do think that Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore are really good together on screen.
So here's a question for you, babe.
Uh-oh.
Do you think that Adam Sandler wanted this to be a complicated ending? Or when he made the picture, did he view it as this is just an upbeat ending?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. I don't think that he imagined that it would keep a young man in Portland thinking about it afterwards, you know?
Right.
You could be the only one that actually had some questions afterwards about this movie. You could be the only one, but maybe a little bit of both.
That's possible, Jaylo.
Who knows?
Yes.
If you ever had a chance to meet Adam Sandler, would you ask him about the ending to this movie?
There's a lot of things I would want to talk to him about, but assuming I had 2 or 3 hours to pick his brain, this would come up.
Right.
Yes.
Understandably so.
Yes.
Because it is... I mean, these questions are very interesting. Yeah.
That's why I get paid the big money, Jaylo.
The big money for what?
For telling you my thoughts on film.
Really? What have I paid you?
Well, you paid me an ice cream. And that's the start, babes.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I haven't paid you in money.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you think we've done a good job of talking about our feelings of this movie? Or is there anything else you'd want to say?
I don't think so. I don't really have, like, complicated feelings about it, but I think we've pretty much covered a lot of ground with this, I think.
Oh, good.
Yes, and I think everybody should see it because it's a laugh, and it really does make you think about memories. And both those movies make you think about memories and how important memory and memories are. Yes.
Jaylo?
Yes.
You've been having some dreams.
Oh, yeah. I did. So I had 2 weird dreams last night. I don't even know why I had them, but I had a dream where I was on a plane to the big island of Hawaii, specifically Kona, and I was sitting next to, I believe it was someone I knew, I think. I couldn't tell, but we were going to Kona because we were supposed to stop at this prisoner of war camp, and it was implied that the person who was talking to me knew about it because he used to live at that camp. And the camp was situated somewhere in the airport, so he wouldn't make it out of the airport. But it was situated in the airport somewhere. And I think the reason why I dreamed about it is, are you okay?
Could you hold this for just 1 second?
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I just have to do something.
Okay.
I'm going to button my pants, but it's not what you think.
Oh, my goodness.
No. I'll explain. We're going to get back to your dream. My pants are too tight. And so they were like rubbing up against my waist. So that's why I did that. And it's been doing that for like the last half hour and I just haven't been able to have a chance.
It's chafing.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Keep going. You're on the plane with this guy.
And so, but he was telling me that he used to live at that camp, and that camp, it was implied that it was situated at the airport, so he never even left the airport. It was just right there. And I don't even know why we were going, but and I think the reason why I dreamed about it is because of that episode with Kira and her mother.
Oh, that we watched a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
That's one that sticks with you, isn't it?
It does. Yes, it does. The other dream that I thought was very disturbing to me, and I hope it doesn't happen in real life. There's an agency that Rick and I go to. In fact, it's where we met.
At an open mic there.
At an open mic there. Yes, we had some fun times. Well, I had a dream that there were some people gathered at this agency, and it was announced that it was closing their doors. They were closing their doors. And I thought, I can't believe this. This is horrible. And meanwhile, there was some woman, I guess, came in and wanted to be a consumer of this agency, and they were explaining what she could do when she walked in the next time. And it was so odd, and I'm thinking to myself, well, how could she be a consumer if this agency is rumored to be closing? And I woke up and I thought, oh, this is so odd. I hope it doesn't happen in real life. I really hope it doesn't, because it's such a wonderful agency. I mean, it really is. And had I not gone there, I probably would have met Rick.
Yes.
I mean,
it changed your life.
Yes, it did.
Yes.
In more ways than one.
I know that we usually wrap up right after dreams, but you made me think of a question, babes.
Uh-oh.
We've discussed this before, but it's a different day, maybe a different perspective.
Okay.
I know you don't have all the answers, but I think pretty much everybody, unless you're a real contrarian, everybody believes that 2020 has been a very, very strange year.
It has been.
Things have happened that we weren't necessarily expecting to take place.
Right.
What does the future look like? What do things look like in, let's say, 2023? Is that agency closed down? Has society fallen? This type of thing.
I don't believe that society is going to fall after this. I think that it's one of those things where this was a terrible time in history, just like it was in 9/11, 2001. But I think that just like that and the 1918 flu, that we as a people are going to get through it, because that's what we do. I don't think that it's the end of everything. There will be an end, but that's a different story. But I don't believe it's going to end this way.
I'm not saying anything original, but not only are we having the issue with coronavirus, but we're also having a lot of upheaval in our streets, a lot of concerns over the election, and Black Panther is dead.
Oh, yeah, the actor.
So this is an extremely...
The actor, not the group. Yeah, the actor.
Right. So it feels like, I didn't know Black Panther was a group, but it still
they were.
It feels like a very contentious year, but you do think that things will get somewhat back to normal.
Yeah, I don't think that this year was great, but it wasn't all bad either. No, I see it totally different. I think that we can move forward from this. I believe that we do need each other at this time. Politics aside and feelings aside, because we need to come together and things have to be stopped. And as far as the rioting and everything, that needs to be stopped completely. But we have to find a way to come together as a people, like we did, like we did 19 years ago, because that's when I really saw things turn around a little bit. And I think we can do it.
How long do you think that happened for? Because in my estimation, we as a country were only on the same page for maybe a year.
I think you're about right. And then everything just went back to normal as if nothing happened.
So do we really learn from this and come together as more of a collective?
I think some people do learn from it, but I also think there are people that don't.
But how do you think we're going to handle this tragedy as a nation?
I think overall, I think we can handle it. I think we will handle it. I think that there are the minority of the minority are the people that will still stay in their state even after this. But I think the majority of Americans will be able to handle this
and grow from the experience.
Yes, I do.
Nice.
But also, I am I am an optimist. Maybe I would think of myself as an incurable optimist, but I am optimistic about it. I know it looks really bad now, but can you imagine being in a third world country like, I don't know, like Azerbaijan, right? Yep. Or Syria, where there's a lot of violence going on, or let's just say Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of violence going on. Women still don't have any rights. Very little rights, in fact. We are not like any other country in this world. And I honestly think that there is a reason there's a reason for all of it, and I think that we are going to come through it with a lot of work, but we are going to come through it.
I just hope I live long enough to see that, babe.
I think you will. I think you will. I think I will. We're not so far gone yet.
Thank you.
That's the way I see it.
Thank you.
And even though it seems bad, nothing is always what it seems.
That's true.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Jaylo?
Yes.
We have already selected our films for next weekend.
Oh, yes, we did.
Camp night on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you Meatballs. You're going to show me By Me Stand.
I believe we both watched Meatballs, but I think it's been years since I've seen it. And I believe it's been years since I've seen Stand By Me. If I did see it, I think I did. But
Stand By Me is your choice, so if it sucks, we're blaming you. But
no, I heard it's a classic.
Okay.
A lot of people talk about Stand By Me.
Yes.
And I believe part of it was in a camp.
I've read the short story that it's based on because it's in the same collection that has the story for Shawshank Redemption.
Really? Mm-hmm. And it was called Stand By Me?
I believe so.
Okay, did you like the story?
It was all right. I don't really remember it that well. The two stories that stood out to me in that collection were Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, obviously, the first story.
Yep.
And Apt Pupil, which was the third story, I believe.
And yes, she told me about that, yes.
It's such a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apt Pupil.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on Saturday, we're going to watch What About Bob, which I believe I've only saw part of it and I wasn't interested, but I'm willing to give it another shot.
I think it's a classic.
And then there's a movie that I think it was an independent film, but I watched it several times and I really liked it. It's with Winona Ryder, and it's called Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael.
I hadn't even heard of this film before you made me aware of it.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think you might like it. It's a comedy drama, so you'll get a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Winona Ryder, I will say, has a really weird name in this movie, but...
She's Roxy Carmichael?
No. Her name in the movie is Dinky Bizzetti.
Okay.
But she's looking forward to seeing Roxy Carmichael because she feels like she has a connection with her. And it's been a while since I watched the movie, so I can't give you any more than that. And in the movie is music by Melissa Etheridge.
This would be fun, babes.
Yes, it will.
What self-love exercises do you plan to do over the course of the next 5 days?
Absolutely nothing. Okay. No, just kidding. No, I don't know what you would call it because I'm not kind of like a self-love advocate or anything, but I've been getting back into reading in the morning. Now, I do plan on journaling again because I have been very lax on journaling, but I started to read again. I got my books all set, all situated by on the wall, the farthest wall, and I've been reading again. So I've been getting into that my morning routine, and I'm looking forward to start putting some journal entries in my journals.
That's something, babe.
My folder, yeah.
Yes.
It's a folder on my computer that I would put entries in.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm also thinking about making some studies, maybe for once a month.
And then we're going to start the Church of Jaylo.
No, we aren't. No, I don't agree to that.
We might be.
No.
It's might.
Really?
Yes. That sounds like a good plan for the week, babe.
It is, and there's also other things that I have to do, like filling out forms and whatnot. But
did you take care of the census thing yet?
No.
You might get arrested if you don't do it. Like, seriously, it is a federal offense.
No, I know that.
Okay.
You don't have to mention it here.
I'll get a call from the jail. Oh, yeah, watch me, okay? I love you, babe. Can I get a kiss? I think he's giving me a kiss.
Do I
Yes.
need to?
You want
Do I
to.
need to?
You
Do
want
I
to.
want to?
Yes, you do. Do you
All
want-
right.
All right. That's not enough.
Not to mention it here.
Sorry, babe.
Telling you, sometimes you put your foot in your mouth sometimes.
Sorry. In fairness, you still have another month.
No. I'm going to get it done for sure this week because I can't. I got to.
Yes.
I got to. And the sooner I do it, the quicker it'll go and I don't have to worry about it.
I don't want to go to the big house just to visit you, babes.
I'm not going to the big house.
Okay, good.
No, I have never been in trouble with the law and I never will be.
Good.
Although people have been calling me saying that I have some kind of legal matter, but I think they're just scamming me.
Nice.
Sometimes I get some weird automated messages.
Very good, Jaylo.
I'm sure you've had those too.
Absolutely.
They always try to find out what to get, try to get you for all the money you've got or don't got or don't have.
Jaylo,
Yes.
is there anything else you want to say?
No.
I think what we should do, and I know sometimes I sound like a broken record,
Yeah.
we should end this, make out for a little bit, maybe watch an episode of DS9.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the episode The Sound of Her Voice.
Oh, you told me about that one.
Yes, but you haven't seen it, and you've probably forgotten a few things about it.
Yes, I know you told me about it, but I heard it was really good.
Amazing episode. And maybe eat some ice cream.
Yeah.
And you'll give me some candy, and I'll go along.
You go on your merry way.
Yeah.
Until the next time.
Yes. All right, you sure this is the last chance to say something?
No, I'm pretty much said all I wanted to say. But I wish you didn't mention what you just mentioned a while ago.
Sorry, babes. Ouch. How about the census?
Oh, I'm telling you, you're going to be in serious trouble with me one day.
Uh-oh.
You're going to put your foot so far into your mouth that...
I actually do put my foot in my mouth a lot. I don't do it intentionally. It's just how I go. Well, I think what we should do, babe. I have a very bad memory.
Yes.
Have we ever kissed before?
Of course we have.
I know we're going to do this. I think we should try now just so I remember how to do it.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's do so.
Okay, stop it.
Okay. I think
All
I
right.
got the basics now. So, you good, babe?
I'm good.
All right. You're not going to yell at me after I...
We'll see about that.
Oh, all right. Well,
I don't really yell. I just get very irritated for a little bit and then that's it.
what I'll say is if I live, until next time.
Until next time, happy Saturday. Or happy Sunday, rather.
Bye-bye.